Hello friends, welcome to the Einvoice FAQ series. I am Ravikiran Idara, Vice President at GST Network. Today we are going to see the most frequently asked questions on IRN, that is Invoice Reference Number and QR Code. The first question, can I print an e-invoice? Yes. Once the invoice details are reported to the IRP, it will give back the signed JSON along with QR code. This can be extracted and printed as usual by the business. What is an IRN? How does it look like? On reporting invoice details, the IRP will generate a unique reference number, IRN, and this will be part of the signed JSON. The IRN is generated based on supplier's GSTIN, document type, document number, and the financial year. The IRN is a unique 64-character string. You can see it here. Do I need to print IRN on the invoice copy? No, it is purely optional. IRN is anyway embedded in the QR code, which has to be placed on the invoice copy. Can an IRN be cancelled? Yes, within 24 hours from the time of reporting to IRP. However, if the connected e-way bill is active or verified by the proper officer on the road, the cancellation of IRN is not permitted. In case of cancellation of IRN, GSTR1 also will be updated with the cancelled status. Can a cancelled invoice number be used again? No. Once an IRN is cancelled, the invoice number cannot be used again for another invoice. In case it is used again, then the same will be rejected by the IRP, because IRN is unique for the document number and for that financial year. Can I amend the details of an invoice for which IRN has already been generated? The amendments are not possible on IRP, because it is only a pass-through validation portal. The changes in the invoice details, to the extent they get reflected in GSTR1, can be carried out on GST portal. However, these changes made while filing GSTR1 will be flagged to proper officer for information. Do I need to print QR code on the invoice? Yes. QR code, which comes as part of signed JSON from IRP, shall be extracted and placed on the invoice copy. However, printing of QR code on a separate paper is not allowed. The printed QR code shall have sufficient resolution to be read by a QR code reader. Once these are ensured, the size and placing of the QR code on the invoice is up to the preference of the businesses. On reporting invoice details, the IRP is giving acknowledgement number and date. Whether these also need to be printed on the invoice copy? No. These details are only for internal reference. They need not be printed on the invoice copy. How to verify the authenticity of an invoice? That is, whether it is duly reported to IRP? One can verify the authenticity by uploading the signed JSON file or signed QR code on the e-invoice portal. Please go to the Verify Signed Invoice link under Search tab. You can also verify the QR code using a mobile app, which is downloadable from the Downloads section on the e-invoice portal. Even in e-invoicing, am I supposed to issue copies of invoice in triplicate or duplicate? No. Rule 48.6 of CGST rules clearly says that the requirement to issue triplicate or duplicate is not applicable in case of e-invoicing. What data is embedded in the QR code? These 9 key particulars of the invoice are embedded in the QR code. GSTINs of supplier and recipient, document number and date, invoice value, number of line items, HSN code of the main item, invoice reference number and IRN generation date. Is it possible to have more than one QR code on an invoice? Yes. Apart from the QR code written by IRP, the supplier is free to place any other QR code as per his business needs or any other legal requirement. In such cases, the QR codes may be marked clearly so that they can be distinguished easily. What is a B2C dynamic QR code? Does it have any relevance for e-invoicing? As per notification number 14 of 2020, the business entities with aggregate turnover of more than 500 crore rupees in a financial year, they are supposed to include a dynamic QR code on their B2C invoices, that is, business to consumer invoices. It is also specified in the notification that a dynamic QR code made available to the buyer through digital display and containing the payment cross-reference shall also be deemed to be having the QR code. Please note that the purpose of this notification is to enable and encourage digital payments. This has no relevance or applicability for the e-invoicing, which is applicable for B2B and export supplies. Now let us see the key differences between the B2C dynamic QR code and the B2B e-invoice QR code. As we have seen, the notifications are different. One is 14 of 2020, the another is 13 of 2020. For whom it is applicable? Of course, it is for the same set of registered persons with the aggregate turnover above rupees 500 crores in a financial year. You can see here, except for this notification issuance date and the turnover threshold, these two QR codes are completely different from each other. For which type of supplies the QR codes are applicable? The dynamic QR code is for B2C sales and the e-invoice QR code is for B2B and export supplies. Who generates the QR code? In case of dynamic QR code, it is by the supplier himself, either on his point of sale machine or on the invoice copy issued. In case of B2B invoicing, the QR code will be generated by the invoice registration portal, that is IRP. And what is the purpose of B2C dynamic QR code? It is to enable payment by customers using UPI through mobile apps, etc. For example, the payments we make at the billing counters when we go to supermarkets. And this is to promote digital payments as against cash payments. What is the purpose of e-invoice QR code? It is to embed key particulars of the invoice reported to IRP and also to confirm whether an invoice is actually reported to IRP or not, and also to verify with a QR code reader whether the digital signature given by IRP is intact or tampered with. And what are the contents of the QR codes? In case of B2C, it is the information relating to the payment to be made by the customer. And in case of e-invoicing, the QR code will contain the 9 particulars of the invoice mentioned here. Is there any time window within which I need to report an invoice? That is there any validation on document date to be within a specified time window for reporting to IRP and generating IRN? No. No such validation is kept presently in the system. Thank you for watching the video.